And welcome to another episode of Upon Further Review. I'm Josh Aubrey, being joined by Alan Tyson from Lee Hill & Johnson Insurers. We're up top of ERA Hirsch Real Estate Team, buying or selling real estate. Talk to the experts downstairs at ERA Hirsch Real Estate Team. Well, Alan, the Georgia Southern Eagles, it's been a frustrating season, especially when you return as many seniors and have high expectations. But a new staff comes in. They seem to struggle a lot. Lost a lot of close games, won a couple close games. What do you know? Once again, this past weekend, it's a close game that comes down to the wire, except this time, Georgia Southern comes out on top. Probably the best win of the year for Georgia Southern comes in the final game against Troy, who with a win would have been tied for the Sun Belt Championship. Instead, they lose. They're still going to go to probably a decent bowl game, but they had everything to play for. Georgia Southern, really nothing but pride. They showed it. Seniors went out with style. A couple big performances, Kevin Ellison and BJ Johnson among them. A lot of people at the end of that said, where's this been all year? I know it's been frustrating. We'll get into the other aspect that came the next day. But as for the game itself, your thoughts briefly on Georgia Southern and Troy and how the season finished.
Well, I think it was the most complete game on both sides of the ball that I've seen us play this year, for an entire game. We've played well at times on both sides of the ball, but as we've talked about before, it's been hard for us to put together an entire game where both sides played well enough to win. And certainly that happened on Saturday. The offense opened up a little bit. We ran the option a little bit more, which gave us then an opportunity to run between the tackles. And Kevin Ellison, as you stated, had a wonderful day. Rushed for 2 touchdowns and passed for 2 touchdowns. And B.J. Johnson, did what he's been doing since he got here. He's been making good catches, and he runs well with the football after he catches it. And then at the end, our defense bent, but they didn't break. And I was fortunate enough Saturday for the first time this year to have a sideline pass. And of course, I was like a kid in a candy store, but I was down in the end zone during that last drive that Troy was mounting against us. And it was just, I felt like a college student again when I saw the ball hit the ground on that last play. I just went running out on the field, and it was exciting. And I think we had a decent crowd there. I think we had a better crowd than I anticipated we would have. The home stands were actually full. Yep. And anytime you have a 12 o'clock game, it's kind of hard to get students out of bed until about halfway through the game, and then you put it on ESPN, and they tend to sit around the fraternity house and watch it on TV. But I was excited. I thought that again, we played well. I was glad to see that our seniors, were able to contribute in a big way to that win, and it was a good way to send them out, and hopefully a positive going forward.
All right, well, let's look at some of the highlights and hear after the game from the coaches and players from Georgia Southern taking on Troy. The Georgia Southern seniors taking the field for the last time as the Eagles host Troy in their season finale. Many questions swirling about the future of head coach Tyson Summers and his current staff prior to Saturday's game. Trouble early on as Eagles will fumble. It's recovered by Troy here in the first quarter. The defense able to hold Troy to a field goal, though. The kick is up and good, and they take a 3-0 lead. Later, 4th and short, and the Eagle defense steps up once again, denying here. The offense able to take over, and what do you know? It's the much talked about, rarely seen option, resulting in a 20-yard pickup and a first down. This takes us to the second, where once again it's the option. Matt Breida getting inside the 5 on this play. A few plays later, 3rd down, senior Kevin Ellison lofts one up for fellow senior B.J. Johnson, who hauls it in, and the Eagles take a 7-3 lead. Troy finally getting their offense on track. Jordan Chun breaks free for a big pickup into Eagle territory, and then from the 3, Chun in for the touchdown, and the Trojans take a 10-7 lead, which they'd carry into half. Second half, and this time it's the triple option, the fake, and the Kevin Ellison churning upfield 20 yards. Next, it's Matt Breida with a rare opportunity to run in the open field. He picks up 15 of his 66 yards in the game. And then again, it's Ellison keeping it and going 24 yards. And after a review, this one ruled a touchdown. Ellison rushed for 115 yards in the game. The defense holding Troy in check for most of the third quarter. Akime Aligwe and Jay Ellison in on the hit. Back on offense, once again, Kevin Ellison freezes the defense, faking the pitch, and he's off down the sidelines for a 54-yard touchdown. Some nice blocking along the way, and it's 21-10 Eagles. But Troy responding this time. The first down pickup on 3rd and long. Brandon Silvers with the pass, and then it's Silvers to a wide open Tavares McCormick for the 16-yard touchdown, and the lead will be cut to 21-17 after 3. In the fourth, Silvers swings it over to Jordan Chun, who tries to hurdle a defender, getting a first down here, and then it's Chun. Another 3-yard touchdown run as Troy takes a 24-21 lead, but the Eagles right back as Ellison rifles a pass to B.J. Johnson, who manages to haul it in, stay on his feet with a pirouette, and then outraces the defense for a 64-yard touchdown. The Eagles with a 28-24 lead, but it's never easy, and Troy fighting till the end. Here getting to the 7 with seconds remaining in the game, 4th down, and this pass will go incomplete as the Eagles win by a final of 28-24. After the game, Georgia Southern Athletics Director Tom Kleinlein issued a statement saying he wanted to end any speculation surrounding the future of head coach Tyson Summers, telling student athletes, recruits, and fans that he will be the Georgia Southern head coach moving forward. Kleinlein went on to say he knows the results on the field this year were not up to Georgia Southern standards, but feels that many aspects are progressing well as Georgia Southern continues their 3rd year in transition as an FBS member. All right, Alan, so the game's over now. Georgia Southern, there's questions whether Summers will stay, whether how many coaches will stay with him, what will happen. We finally got that answer on Sunday as it was announced that both David Dean and Rance Gillespie will no longer be with Georgia Southern. That's the co-offensive coordinators. I guess is not that big of a surprise. The offense has been more of the struggle than the defense. Where do you think they go at this point?
Well, I've got to believe what Coach Summers is saying, and that is that his intention is to be one of the most explosive running games in the country, running teams in the country. And I guess my thought on that is that he felt like after evaluating what he saw this season, that the offense that Coach Gillespie and Coach Dean brought to us didn't lend itself to being that explosive running team. Rightfully so. I mean, I think, I don't ever want to see anybody lose their jobs, but, I think it's a good thing for our program. It's probably in the long run a good thing for them, instead of that carrying on and on and on, for that to go ahead and take place, and then they have an opportunity during the rest of their contract to find other places to coach, and I'm sure they will. And we have the opportunity to go out now and find somebody that we can put into place that can also help us recruit and those kinds of things. So, it's just one of those things where, sometimes it's just not a fit.
It seemed like a square peg in a round hole from the get-go, which I think a lot of people were a little bit scratching their heads when we saw, especially Rance Gillespie, who had been here before with Chris Hatcher, and in 2009, 18 points a game, the lowest in school history. He was the offense coordinator at that time. And then you bring in David Dean, and I think a lot of people can think of those guys as more of the Mike Leach kind of tree as opposed to the Paul Johnson or the option kind of tree. So it never really seemed like from the beginning it was a good fit. Maybe they thought they could get it to work. It doesn't seem like it did. So I guess we'll have to wait and see now. The next move will be who they hire, and we'll bring it to you as soon as we find out. But for now, we're going to take a break. We'll remind you before we go to break that for any legal advice you may have in the Statesboro and Bullitt County community, talk to our friend Lovett Bennett Jr., attorney at law PC, Lovett's office located in downtown Statesboro. Back with more in a moment on Upon Further Review.
To stay ahead, a parent has to really be on the go and stop for school, stop for sports, stop for an intervention. But you don't have to stop for banking. To stay ahead with mobile online banking, bank ahead with Queensboro National Bank and Trust.
Do you ever wonder what that 15% savings cost you in service?
What's the name on the account?
My name is Mary, M-A-R-Y.
Who is this?
Mary.
Oh,
My
okay.
name is Mary.
Right.
Are you even listening to me?
Sure.
At Glenn Davis Insurance, we get to know you as a person. To us, you're not just another number. Together with Auto Owners Insurance, we can develop an insurance plan tailored to your specific needs. Glenn Davis and Associates. Call or come by today.
We only got a statement from Tom Kleinlein after the game saying that he basically evaluates the coaches at the end of the season, and he evaluated Coach Summers and felt like he's the man to continue the program at Georgia Southern, but we did not get him on camera and have the opportunity to ask any questions. Thankfully and luckily we were able to do that on Monday, and let's go to some of my interview with Athletic Director of Georgia Southern, Tom Kleinlein.
Everybody knows we evaluate our football program. I evaluate our football program on a weekly basis. Coach Summers and I meet throughout the entire year. And when you sit down and when you evaluate a football program, whether it's our football program or football programs I've been a part of in the past, there's a lot of things that you have to look at. Obviously, win-loss record is a big part of that. And let me start by saying that we did not perform at the level we needed to perform out on the field. That was clear. There was no question about that. But when you look at our season and how we went through the season and the number of kids that we had injured, a number of things that popped up during the year, I think that was a significant contributor to some of our win-loss factors. When Tyson took our job, there were some challenges associated with this job. Obviously, he took a very successful program, and there's a lot of pressure with our program. And we had some challenges, and we still have some challenges with things we have to manage, like our APR. Our APR is a number that we have to manage. We have to go through our processes every year in football, assuring that we're going to meet our minimum APR so that we can keep playing in bowl games. When we went through some changes early on in our football career, or our football life, so to speak, right after Jeff Monken and Willie Fritz took over, there was a significant hit to our APR, and we've had to manage that. Willie managed it successful for 2 years, and Tyson's managing it successfully right now. So I think that's a significant factor when you look at, when people ask me, well, what did you see? Being able to manage our football program through injuries, being able to manage our football program through APR constraints, being able to continue to do the things that we expect of a head coach, fundraising, the community outreach, the growth and development of our players off the field. Those are all the things that when I look at Tyson and the direction he was going, that I think are moving in the right direction. Again, clearly our on the field performance is not where it needs to be, but I feel like we can get there with his leadership.
All right, well, you mentioned off the field. Mm-hmm. We could go back to August with Dr. Dorsey, he had had a little bit of a checker pass, was coming in here, and he was terminated.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Travis Taylor, who came in as football ops, is no longer with the program. Those are a couple of off-the-field issues that have to concern you. Those were both hires from Coach Summers.
Right. Both those hires went through a university process. Both those hires went through background checks in which they passed background checks with the university. And to your point, when those things came up, the way our head football coach handled those situations is what actually impressed me through the process. You know, obviously, when you're a head coach and you have to manage a program, you're responsible for your entire organization. I've been in situations before where head coaches have been a little bit reluctant to step in and discipline employees. Never had that issue with Tyson. Tyson understood what was going on with his employees. He understood that the decisions they made were not what we want to have in our culture here at Georgia Southern. And Tyson decided and agreed with me, and we sat down and worked through it, and we decided to take the measures that we did.
Most recently, another allegation comes up regarding the running backs coach that seems like should have been a red flag perhaps when he was hired.
Yeah, it seems like it should be a red flag, except when he was hired, he wasn't under investigation. We were made aware of the investigation in the spring after he was hired. So from that point forward, when we were made aware of the investigation of Appalachian State, Chris Foster and Tyson have done nothing but work with the university and our compliance people to kind of mitigate ourselves or work our way through the challenges associated with the allegations against Chris Foster. Obviously, he's gone through that process now. The NCAA has made their decision. We respect their decision, and we're going to move forward with what we need to do to manage our situation with Chris Foster.
All right, stay with us. Coming up next, we have our high school segment.
The Clubhouse in Statesboro, Southeast Georgia's best place to play. The Clubhouse in Statesboro, where fun is done.
Dr. Sergio Dalsenia of Family Internal Medicine reminds you that Kathy Shriver, who specializes in diabetes education and consultations, is now exclusive to Family Internal Medicine. Call for an appointment. Their office located in the Cotton Ridge Plaza on Fair Road.
It's now time for our high school segment brought to you by Ogeechee Technical College. When we come back, we'll see some high school basketball from this past weekend.
I'm Brian Reliza.
My name is Michaela Graham.
And I'm an echocardiography graduate.
I'm studying to be a veterinary technician.
And I am OTC.
And I am OTC.
We believe every path is different and every student is unique. Whether you're interested in dual enrollment, an associate degree, or earning credit toward a higher degree, a diploma, or certificate, Ogeechee Tech can help you build a strong foundation for your future. Visit ogeecheetech.edu to find out how you can go anywhere from here.
Without further ado, let's go out. There was Bullock Academy. We haven't had a chance to see them play at home yet. Girls and boys hosting First Presbyterian. Bullock Academy hosting First Presbyterian Friday night. Ladies first. This one was all Gators. Brian Boykin starting things off as she hits off the glass for two. Abby Newton later ahead to McKay Sands. More from Sands. The Gators continue to find her, and she continues to find the twine for two more. And then more passing inside to Sands. She'd lead the way with 22. Gators by 19 in the second half. It's more from Bullock Academy. Boykin two more. And finally, Abby Newton in the corner for three. And the Gators win 48-29. To the boys' game we go. And it will be just about the opposite in this one as the visitors from Hinesville open up the early lead. The Gators stay close thanks in part to the play of Chad Lanier, who nearly single-handedly kept Bullock Academy in it in the first half. Lanier winds up with a game-high 27. Candler Boyette trying to help out with the corner three. but First Presbyterian in command, and they go on to take this one 84-48. All right, Alan, there were plenty of other games going on. We had Portal split with Woodville Tompkins and Savannah Christian. The boys are 3-0 right now, looking pretty good. We had Statesboro girls beat Effingham and then lost to Swainsboro. Unfortunately for the boys, they're a little banged up. They have a couple of starters, 3 of them actually, that are out. They lost to Effingham and then lost in double overtime to Swainsboro this past week. They won't be back home until this Saturday. Southeast Bullet boys lost to Islands, beat Bryan County. The girls beat Islands and lost to Bryan County. And in football, we had ECI losing to Macon County. And the only real teams from around this area, the Coastal Empire, Benedictine, no surprise, they end up beating Callaway. They're to the championship. And McIntosh County Academy, who 2 years ago did not win a game, got their old coach Robbie Robinson back, and now they're in the state title for the first time. Those games will be next week. Well, stay with us. Coming up next, we'll have more on Upon Further Review.
The Medical Center Pharmacy on Grenade Street is proud to be your Health Mart pharmacy in Statesboro. The Medical Center Pharmacy, locally owned and serving this community for 50 years, is open 364 days a year. The pharmacists at Medical Center know there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. That's why they take the time to know their customers, explain their medications, and answer any questions. The Medical Center Pharmacy, your Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
To stay ahead, a parent has to really be on the go and stop for school, stop for sports, stop for an intervention. But you don't have to stop for banking. To stay ahead with mobile online banking, bank ahead with Queensboro National Bank and Trust.
We know how important your family is to you, which is why family medicine is so important to us. At TRICARE Family Medicine, we'll see that your family is in the best possible health. We offer a fun and friendly environment and are now accepting new pediatric and adult patients. Come experience the difference today. Let our family take care of your family at TRICARE Family Medicine, the official family practice of Georgia Southern Athletics.
All right, Alan, before we go, let's talk a little bit about basketball. That's going on as well. The women are in a bit of a tailspin right now. The guys just lost to a very good team in a very exciting game at Hanner Fieldhouse. They were coming in on a 3-game win streak, I guess, and played a really good team and went right toe-to-toe with Florida Gulf Coast. They used to be Dunk City from the NCAA tournament. They were the darlings, I think it was 3 years ago.
3 or 4.
And they lost that coach, but they've still maintained to be a pretty good program. Came in, and it was a fun game. Anybody that went down to the wire. Georgia Southern loses, a high-scoring affair.
Yeah, it was a game where they just had a few more runs than we did. We got behind in the first half, and I think the score, we were down like 9 at the half. We got off to a bad start, and we didn't shoot the ball exceptionally well on Sunday. You know, we weren't our normal selves from the 3-point line. I think we shot like 26% from the 3-point line. But what we did do, and Coach Byington alluded to this, was we showed some character coming down the stretch, because we actually got behind by 17 points, and we were able to cut that lead to 3 points with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the game, and we defensed them to the end of the shot clock. They actually took a shot that did not touch the rim, and we their player got the rebound, and we fouled him, and he went to the line for a 1-and-1. The officials could not review that call according to them.
Right. They said it touched the rim, but it was pretty clear that it didn't.
And they couldn't review it. So as a result of that, they went to the free throw line and made 2 free throws, and instead of us having the ball with about 1 minute 50 and behind by 3, we're now down by 5. They foul us. We only make 1 free throw. But the score ended up being a 3-point victory for Florida Gulf Coast. But, you know, I think, again, we're 4-4. I think we go to Minnesota this week, which will be another tough game. Minnesota's got a good basketball team, obviously. But I really like our basketball team. I really do, and I think Coach Byington is doing an excellent job. If you hear him speak, when you hear him talk, you understand that our basketball program is in good hands.
Yeah, and again, we have to mention only 2 seniors on this team. They're both walk-ons. Pretty much this team will return intact next year. So this year, anything they do, I think a lot of people are thinking is gravy, but it seems like they're a little ahead of schedule and a lot of fun to watch. Get out there to Henner if you haven't been.
Absolutely.
They got, the outside of it is coming together, looks really nice. The presentation for the game is nice. It's nice and bright in there now. Seems like the crowds are buying in a little bit, so hopefully over the next month, they'll play mainly away from home, and then they'll get into the meat of the schedule and the Sun Belt schedule come the first of the year, toward the end of December and first of the year. So if you get a chance, go out there and see them. We do have some highlights from the Florida Gulf Coast game. Let's get out and see how things went. Georgia Southern men back in action this weekend as they host Florida Gulf Coast. And Travius Simmons with a double-double, 13 and 12 for the Eagles. Ike Smith with the reverse for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Tukey Brown later off the mark, but Monte Glenn with the putback. On the other end, it's Christian Terrell with 2 of his 17 in the game. Brandon Goodwin then with 2 of his 12 as he beats the clock. Florida Gulf Coast living up to their old Dunk City later with the alley-oop to Rajon Tucker. Jake Alsmiller answers with the Eagles for 3. Ike Smith then with the hoop and the foul. He'd have a game-high 23 points. More from Ike Smith here with the floater in the lane. Lead cut to 3. The Eagles trying to help defensively as well. Smith the block, and later Sean O'Connell the rejection. Smith showing he can throw him down with the best of them with the 2-handed flush. The Eagles actually took a 1-point lead. Florida Gulf Coast responds. Zach Johnson for 3. Tukey Brown answers with 3 of his 21 in the game. More from Tukey, this time driving for the hoop and the foul. But Florida Gulf Coast proving to be too much. Another alley-oop. And they go on to win 85-82. And that'll wrap it up for this week. For Alan Tyson, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.